Alrighty, it's the next morning and I just weighed in. It's about a little less than 2 hours before the official weigh-in. So let me show you what the weight actually is in this morning at my own scale in my own apartment. Imagine this is a scale right here. Step on it. 0. Mass is 110.7. And wearing underwear as well, but I'll be wearing that there as well. So let's just say I was 110 before wearing anything and going to the bathroom. So it's pretty amazing. I'm sure to make weight right now, and I'm actually gonna have some breakfast. 150 grams of baby rice with a bit of almond butter or chocolate, don't know yet, and a little bit of protein, and that's it. Just simple to start the carb loading process already, but the shape is pretty much there, so very excited. Okay guys, this is the first meal. We have about 120 grams of baby rice, 25 grams of chocolate, dark chocolate, 50 grams of jam, because fructose and glucose together absorb more quickly compared to either only fructose or either only glucose. So that's a combination for the loading, which I'll explain a bit more later, but just now I want to eat this. 25 grams of protein from whey isolate, and that's it guys. And yeah, that's the fats from the chocolate, the carbs from the cream of rice, and a bit of protein from the isolate, very fast absorbing. Let's do this. Alrighty guys, on our way to the registration, the athletes meeting to weigh in for the show. And I'm very curious to see what my weight truly is here, but it's probably around 111 max. So we'll see, but I feel good. Gonna carb up nicely today, meet all the guys in the class. So let's see it, let's do this. Okay guys, as you can see, this room is the Olympia athletes check-in. So everybody needs to hit a weight limit, like 212 in classic physique, needs to weigh in here to see if they actually met the weight limit. So for 212, obviously everybody has to be below 212, and for classic physique, depending on your height, you have to weigh a certain weight. So for me it's 247 pounds or 112 kilos in the Netherlands. But here in America it's always in pounds. So in about 15 minutes the classic physique weigh-ins will begin. At least that's the plan. So, but as you can see, because of COVID, everything has been spaced out quite nicely. And that's possible with this new location. It's even larger than Las Vegas location. So, you know, it feels very nice to be here. Getting quite thirsty, but just to be sure, I'm gonna wait a little bit until I weigh in and then drink 10 liters of water today. So let's wait for it. So this is the form you actually have to fill in for the prize money, for the tax rules, for the music rights, stuff like this, to make sure that you're able to, if you win money, collect the money in a legal manner, that everything has been sorted, and that whenever you use the music that you know, they are covered because you are the one who brought the music in. So that's what this, or official certifications are for.
All classic physique competitors, please find a seat. We'll be beginning this meeting. All right, first of all, guys, I want to say thank you for making it out here. We know how hard you guys have worked this year, and we want to congratulate you for qualifying for the 2020 Classic Physique Olympia. My name is Kaden Riley. I'm the associate producer of the event, and I'm going to go over a few details of the event of this year's Olympia. All right, guys. With that, you'll be hearing me call your name. Please go over to Guy and Andy, and we'll get this started.
Ook nog wel fysiek hoor.
Number 22, Wesley Vissers. Number 22.
I just said. Put it on the list. Clothing line.
This one is Wesley Vissers.
244.
Oh, no, sorry, Maxine, yes. All right. No, I'm sorry. Last call for Divine Wilson. And your reigning champion,
So Chaz, Andy,
number 26, Chris Bumstead.
anything, if there are any updates, you'll hear from us, and you can just text us back if you need anything. Okay? All right?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
And then you can send every poster, please, anywhere except someone's face.
Except on someone's face. A lot of.
Caesar Barry did that. Yeah, perfect. You're welcome.
Yes, here you go.
Wow. It looks good.
That's nice.
Here you go. As I'm spilling it everywhere. There you go.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Feels heavy.
Yeah,
When it's heavy, it's good.
it's real chocolate.
Ik can bite in it.
Right.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. So I was actually 6'3" at the height, but that I can't really take into account as my normal height because this is the morning. So you're always a bit taller. Well, actually, your true height in the morning. But usually in the evening, I'm a bit shorter. So at Romania, for example, I was a bit under 6'3". So if this was a true height that I could always count on, the weight limit would have been higher. But I'm regardless under the weight limit because I am supposed to weigh 247 pounds max, and now I'm 244 and a half. So and that's for the 6'2" cutoff. But for the 6'3" cutoff, I think it's 5 pounds more. So if I could somehow find a way to grow, that would have been amazing. But anyway, we made it. So let's eat. Oh yeah? Will you go to her?
Is that okay, Court?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
So you made it?
Yes.
How was the trip? Was it like
And the trip was actually pretty good, to be honest. Yeah. In Aruba, temperature was amazing.
yeah,
So the weather was
the
amazing.
day it's 10.
Yeah. Already got a bit.
Ready for stage.
Yeah, I'm very white naturally, so getting a tan in Aruba a little bit was a good thing. So, but the cardio next to the beach, in the water, and the sea, that's not a bad thing to do.
like
So,
holiday.
yeah, so basically if you go to Aruba, it's like a pit stop between the Netherlands and USA. So you first go back in time for 5 hours in Aruba.
So is it like a holiday destination, or how did you figure out Aruba, I never heard of it.
It's a part of the Dutch kingdom. Like it's the ABC islands, Aruba, Bonaire, and Curacao.
But it's not Schengen.
No, it's not Schengen, but I was allowed between the Netherlands and the islands, especially Aruba, you can still free travel. And Aruba and the USA are very close because the flight from the Aruba to the USA is actually seen as a local flight, like how do you call it? Not an international flight. So if
Domestic.
Domestic flight, exactly. So if you get your baggage checked in Aruba, you're done already. So you can just fly to the USA and you're done.
So did you know all that before? Did you know for sure that you will be allowed to come in?
Well, first we actually tried Dubai because a lot of bodybuilders are there as well because they don't have the restrictions in the gym, so you can still freely train. But the problem is to go from Dubai to the USA, you have to go back to the Netherlands to Amsterdam, and then the quarantine would have been reset. So that was no option.
Some people who were in a similar situation where their prep got started, they said it helped them out. They feel like it gave them an advantage. They were able to add more lean muscle tissue. Did you feel it helped you the way the dates actually kept changing?
Yeah, it actually really did help because it allowed me to get leaner quicker and then just maintain that leanness until the official prep time started again. So the second prep was easier to begin because you already had a leaner level. Alrighty, just got back in the apartment and this is the next meal. So the first meal you saw is baby rice, and the second meal is a little bit of fish, 125 grams of codfish. So that's about 25 grams or 30 grams, 25 grams of protein from fish. And we have 100 grams of carbs from Uncle Ben's rice and 30 grams of carbs from the banana. Extra potassium, fructose, the combination with the glucose from the rice will make it absorb quicker. Almond butter for loading the fats, and we have some celery for expelling extra water and some extra fiber to make sure it actually digests and passes through well. Let's enjoy this, and of course, more than enough water. Alright, so what we are doing here is simply hitting each body part of the upper body with 2 or 3 exercises. For example, the chest is going to be 2 exercises. Each exercise had enough warm-ups to warrant the amount of weight I did in the last set. But this was really more of a pump workout, nothing taxing on the system, because this is 2 days out from the show, the day of the weigh-in. So the reason why I'm even working out in the first place is to help shuttle the carbs where they need to go. Now, of course, the upper body isn't the only place the carbs need to go, also to the legs, but you don't want to train the legs anymore at all. You even don't want to walk a lot anymore at all, because it might inflame the legs a little too much, and the legs is all about showing the detail. Especially in my case, the more detail my legs show, the bigger they appear. So that's why you don't train the legs if you think that's going to shuttle more carbs in the legs. It's also going to shuttle more water under the skin there, and that's not what you want. For the upper body, that is not the case. So here I'm just doing 2 chest movements. The first one, just 1 press movement. The second one is just a chest fly movement. And then of course I gotta check out the conditioning and the pump a little bit to see if the pump is getting there. And it felt quite great. I only did have 2 real meals after the weigh-in before hitting this workout, so it didn't hit me that much yet. But as I said, the true purpose of this workout is to get the muscles amped up to take in the carbs that they need. As you guys probably know from experience, after having worked out, it's so much easier to eat a bigger meal, except when you're working out the legs, because then the digestive tract and the core is altered, affected. But when you're training the upper body, at least I am always very hungry for a meal. I can eat a very big carbohydrate meal, and it's taken up quickly by my body, because usually you have to wait 2 hours in between each meal. But after my post-workout meal, 45 minutes later, I can attack another big meal for sure. So that's the big benefit of still training on the day that your first carb up day begins. But again, the training is not to the max. As you can see here, I'm going through the full range of motion, and now it's time for the back. And for the back workout to do 3 movements in total, because the back is a bit bigger, of course, than the chest. And for chest, you can't really do much else but do a press and then isolate it by doing fly movement. But for the back, you can do a pull down, which we just did. So for every exercise, by the way, we're doing 3 to 4 sets that are of medium intensity, so nowhere near failure, but that's using a full range of motion, getting a full stretch, a full contraction. But for the back, what you can do is as a pull down movement, then do a row movement, and after that do an isolation movement. So each and every body part gets its own isolation movement to do. So this was the rowing movement, and now we're moving to the isolation movement. So there are 2 choices here, or 3 choices really. You can do the cable pullover, which I'm doing right here, isolating the lats and the lower lats. You could do the dumbbell pullover, which does the same thing but makes contraction a bit harder. Or you can do the pullover machine. However, most machines, even though I'm not the biggest guy out there obviously, are too small for me, so I didn't even bother to get into one and be disappointed that might be too small, and the cable pullover always works. So after having done the chest and the back, it's time for the side delts. Now the side delts are very easy, just one movement to do, 3 to 4 sets of side dumbbell lateral raises with the same weight, just literally pumping blood into that muscle group, and 15 to 20 reps. The volume I usually use for side dumbbell lateral raises. So what you don't want to do also is do a very different movement from what you're used to. You should stick to movements that you know how to control, how to do, and then you can really rush blood into that isolated part that you're actually working. So after having done the side lateral raises with the dumbbells, I'm pretty much using the same dumbbells and using them to do reverse dumbbell flies for the rear delts and a little bit of the traps, but mostly the rear delts, as you can see right there. And it's very nice to see that the conditioning is still very much there, even though you're always afraid that if you eat too many carbs, you start to overspill, but the chance of that happening is very low if you eat clean carbs. You usually see this happen for bigger bodybuilders who eat like pizza or several burgers or overload on sodium when they are not used to taking in sodium. Now there's the big difference as well in my diet compared to most bodybuilders. The sodium usage that I have throughout the off season and entire prep is very high. So my body is always used to using that sodium, so there's no scare of holding water in the wrong places because of the sodium content. So that's the very nice thing. So almost nothing can go wrong if you load with clean carbs, keep the sodium the same, keep the water very high, for example 10 liters on this very day, and just do nothing crazy. Keep eating the food you're used to, so also no weird food you haven't eaten all prep, because your body hasn't figured out the digestive enzyme profile to properly digest it. And if you've been eating the same kinds of foods the entire time, like white rice, cream of rice, or some other carb sources you're used to, like a kiwi or fruit, your body knows exactly how to handle it, and that way you can actually use and absorb it without any digestive trouble. So as you saw, we just finished off the workout with some arms. So what we're doing is hitting the biceps and then of course the triceps. It's a very nice way to fill up the arms nicely, getting blood in that final area of the body. Now to me, arms usually aren't a problem to get nice and full, but for the Romania Pro I probably loaded with 300 to 400 grams of carbs, and now it's going to be 800 to 900 grams of carbs, which is quite a big difference. So yeah, I'm very excited, and as I'm recording this right now, I will have my last meal of the day before the show. So this is probably the last video I can upload before I'm actually on stage. So the results will be in very soon, but I did all I could to make it happen, guys. Thank you for your incredible support and belief that I can make something out of my classic physique, Mr. Olympia appearance. Okay guys, that was the last workout we're going to do before the show itself. Just a quick pump workout. It took about an hour or so. Just hit all major muscle groups on the upper body to make sure that the carbs I'm eating today are going to the right places, and it just ups the absorption, the digestion of the food as well, and it just feels good to get a nice pump. I have 2 meals that I already ate, and now it's time for at least 4 more meals of the same size. So let's go home and eat them all.
Alrighty guys, just got home, the post-workout meal. 100 grams of carbs from rice, 30 grams of carbs from the banana, 75 grams of asparagus, and 15 grams of fat from almonds, which comes down to about 25 grams. This is the protein source, some halibut fillet, and some not Nordic salmon, but wild caught salmon, sockeye salmon. About 30 grams of protein here, so the protein has been reduced to about half the meal, and it's going to keep reducing even tomorrow. So for now, we're just going to enjoy this. Okay guys, I'm here finishing up this video right here. It is the next day compared to the footage you saw in this video, and it's right now 8 p.m. and at 9 p.m. I want to have my last meal, then go to sleep. Wake up at around 4:30, have my first meal of the day, go back to sleep, wake up at 6:30, have my second meal of the day, which will be a bit smaller, and then we're getting ready, maybe put another layer of tan on, getting ready for the show, because I'm going to be there at 8 a.m. as Classic Physique starts at 9. And when you're that early, you have a nice space backstage as well. No idea what it actually looks like backstage, but just want to take the time to get there and to get to know that area. But anyway, let me show you a little bit of the fullness that I'm in right now. So the carb up is definitely working, as you can see. And of course this might always look great, but the conditioning as well, you know. So the harder, the fuller you get, the better the conditioning can actually be. So you can see that here you can see the striations as well. Normally you see those as well, but not without this fullness pushing the carbs up. So that's always very nice to see that it actually worked. So I actually weigh about 116 kilograms right now. So that's with a full stomach, of course. I do kind of a feeling like the meals are being eaten back to back, because I have a time restraint in eating 7 of those meals of, again, about 8 to 900 grams of carbs today. So at the Romania Pro, as I mentioned in this video, it wasn't even half of that amount, and I saw that it simply was too flat. I was very conditioned, but a little bit stringy, especially from behind, and I need the fullness. This is the Olympia, guys, and I did my very best to become as conditioned as possible, and then I could allow myself to eat a lot more carbs, play it safe, drinking an enormous amount of water as well, putting salt in every single meal, just making sure everything keeps flushing and flushing out, checking myself every single meal in the mirror, posing after every single meal. And when I pose, the physique comes to life right away. Veins that would normally not appear on my legs are literally on the skin, showing that there's an enormous amount of carbs rushing through my blood right now. So normally I say that I fill a muscle group up with blood, but this time my body, every single muscle in my physique is filled up with blood. Anyway guys, this is the last video you're going to see, and by the time you're watching this video, the results might actually already be in. So I did record everything I did today, so I might post this video as well, that footage. I'm gonna try to record as much footage tomorrow as possible as well, but honestly I just want to focus on doing my very best, because I do think this is an opportunity of a lifetime to finally prove and show that I can hang with the better guys in the class. Anyway, thank you for your incredible support. I'm going to do my best tomorrow morning and tomorrow evening, hopefully, if I make it to the finals. And let's do this thing, guys. And don't forget to stay golden.